Good evening, everyone. Tracy here. It's Tough Love Tuesday again. Oh my gosh, it just seems like last week that I was doing the show, and this week went so fast. So very busy, lots going on, lots of heat, like I said, in Seattle area, and I'm so happy that it has dropped down the temperature. That was just brutal. I did not fare very well. I don't know about any of you, but um, I think when we're not used to it, makes it very, very difficult to sustain that hot environment. So anyway, Tough Love Tuesday, and today we're talking about overcoming digestive challenges. And one thing I know for sure is that my lack of understanding of how my digestive tract functioned and worked caused me so much grief, so many symptoms, anxiety, bloating, distress. I was just so disassociated with what I was eating and how it affected me. And I guess I always thought of my digestive tract as just like, I'm just going to put stuff down there and my body will do something with it. And whatever I don't use comes out in the toilet. And I just didn't realize how important digestion was. And again, you're talking to somebody that, 10, 15 years ago wouldn't have thought I would become a health coach, that I would be talking about stuff like this, because I just was so disconnected. So if you're someone that's disconnected, and I completely get it, I completely understand where you're at, and I want to just give you some hope here that if you are disconnected from how your food affects you, how aspects of your life affect you, I get it 100%. And so today, like I said, we're going to talk about overcoming digestive challenges. And if you're listening on the podcast, it's all recorded live, so I'm not in a soundproof booth, so anything can happen. And so just telling you all that. And regarding the podcast, if you haven't listened to it yet, definitely subscribe to it. All these shows are getting converted to podcasts. So you can go back and listen to them, and all the great guests I've had on so far on Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Google, oh my gosh, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all the main ones. You can listen in on the show. So I think that's all I got in terms of announcements. But yeah, so let's get into digestive health. So, gosh, when I was doing the research on this, it was very interesting. A lot of the things I had learned already in school, but it was great to go back and read up on all of this. So we're going to talk about acid reflux and gastroesophageal reflux disease, which is also called GERD. And so acid reflux is also known as heartburn, right? So, and basically, it's the result of acidic digestive juices from the stomach just backing up into your esophagus. And it can cause just lots of distress and pain. And then the GERD is just more advanced chronic form of acid reflux. So you'll end up probably with acid reflux first, and then it can become chronic and turn into GERD. And oh my goodness, I didn't know this, but about between 4 and 10% of adults experience symptoms of acid reflux or GERD on a daily basis. And in Western countries, up to 30% of adults experience symptoms weekly. That's per Dr. X. And so, because of that, we're going to go ahead and look into that more. So acid reflux and why do you get it, right? So one of my favorite doctors that I follow is Dr. Hyman, and he's the director of the Ultra Wellness Center and Cleveland Clinic Ultra Wellness Center. And there's a whole series of causes, everything from what you're eating, your lifestyle, stress, smoking, caffeine, alcohol, bacteria in your gut, food sensitivities. All of these things really can trigger reflux, he states. And, here are some other leading factors that he talks about is, eating right before bed. These are physical things. So eating right before bed, eating just too much, right? if you're overweight, it can really push the stomach up, causing reflux because you don't have room for your stomach. Chronic stress can affect the nerves in your stomach. And this was really interesting. It can make it impossible to process food properly. And so this will cause food to go up, can cause food to come up into your esophagus instead of going down. But I do know some people with stress, they can have the opposite effect. Stress can just make everything flush right through the system and, come out with diarrhea. So, but in this case, we're talking about the chronic stress that can affect, you to regurgitate and have that acid come up into your esophagus. And the other interesting part is because of this, and which with stress, you get a loss of magnesium. And magnesium is needed to relax the sphincter at the bottom of your stomach that actually lets the food go down. And then also food sensitivities that may not be diagnosed. So you may have something that you're eating that is disrupting your system. And a lot of times that can be gluten and that can be dairy, eggs, pretty much everybody's different. So you could have a different food sensitivity that's causing digestive problems. And then back to bad bacteria or yeast growing in your stomach. So if you've been on a lot of antibiotics, which I know they're getting better at where they're not prescribing antibiotics for everything under the sun, but there's generations of people that had just been given an antibiotic for, even if it was a viral infection. Some people have been on antibiotics, most of their life. And so what that can do is really disrupt that bacteria in your stomach and in your gut, causing some serious problems. If you've been on hormones, if you've eaten a lot of sugar and processed food, oops, that was me. You could grow bad bugs in your gut, and which I had bad bugs, and then they ferment and can cause reflux. So, really interesting. And, if you're not sure if you have some digestive issues, which I didn't know, again, because I was so disconnected with my body signals telling me things. But the Mayo Clinic gave some great symptoms here, and that's a burning sensation in your chest. So heartburn usually after eating might be worse at night, but can be like chest pain. You can have difficulty swallowing. You can have regurgitation of food or sour liquid. There's a sensation of that lump in your throat. So that's this, daily GERD and acid reflux. And then if you have nighttime acid reflux, you might also experience what's called the chronic cough because your throat is so sore from those acids coming up. You can have laryngitis, new or worsening asthma because of that, and just disrupted sleep. So those are some symptoms to look at to help you decide, gosh, I wonder if I have it. And I know some people that have reflux at night just don't know it. And so it's really important to find out. So there's great steps that you can do to overcome it. So per Dr. Mark Hyman again, overcoming it and the complications caused by reflux and GERD are kind of systematic, I want to say. And so we'll take a closer look at what he recommends. So we'll be talking about our diets and food allergies coming up, lifestyle triggers, routines, lifestyle routines that aren't supportive, stress, supplements, and I'll just start with diet. So what's recommended to help you with what you are eating. Because like I said, with me, I just told my body it should just accept whatever I was putting down in my mouth and swallowing. And I just had no connection that there'll be cause and effect of that. So definitely you want to look at your food. And I know sometimes it's hard because you may not want to do the effort work of maybe removing those foods for a little while so you can heal. And once you heal, and you're able to reverse the diagnosis and things like that, then you can probably reintroduce these things. So when I say these things, just kind of and you experience acid reflux, or you think you have digestion problems, just know that, you know what, it's not forever. Okay. So before I get into specific food recommendations, we'll want to look at, again, the foods that could be exacerbating the existing acid reflux and the GERD symptoms. So you can find online, it's called Healthy GERD Diet. It's online resources that offers really great information for GERD sufferers. And they've created a really good list here of things that we should, look at if we have GERD. And so that's spicy foods. And certain hot spices are known to irritate the esophagus and cause heartburn. I know that would be a hard one for me to give up. I love spicy food. But I would be willing to do it if I had to. Another big one, and you may have heard this word before, but it's the trans fats and high fat foods. So trans fats are basically unhealthy fats. They're just not good to put in your diet anyway. And you want to go ahead and remove those because they're hard to digest and they cause more acid production. And so you have to watch high fat foods and very hot food and liquid temperature. This is very interesting to me. So they say that it's best to let food and beverages cool a little before we consume them very hot. And sometimes you might think you want a really, really warm beverage to warm up on a cold day. It's better to have it just a warm beverage. So it's interesting. It said that very hot substances have been linked to stomach and intestinal ulcers, which can intensify the symptoms of acid reflux. So that was interesting for me to learn that. Okay, and the next one I know is going to be hard for some people. Mint and chocolate. I'm sorry. Yeah, mint and chocolate are on the list of what foods you want to avoid when you're trying to get a hold of your acid reflux and GERD and to heal your body. So again, as with I'm learning, and a lot of doctors state now, our bodies are amazing and they want to heal and repair themselves. So some of these things you'll be able to introduce back in once you are recovered. So back to peppermint and chocolate. So there's chemicals in them that stimulate the release of stomach acids. And at the same time they're stimulating acids, they are also relaxing the smooth muscle sphincter between the stomach and the esophagus. And then that combination results in acid reflux and heartburn. And the other thing is your own trigger foods. So GERD and acid reflux can be very complex. And so everybody's body is different. So you want to pay attention to what's happening with you. Okay. So again, that's something I didn't want to have to do. I didn't have time for it. I didn't want to do it. And let alone give up anything. And so, but it's really important to find out what your triggers are so that you can remove those items from your diet for a while and then have the opportunity to heal your body. So let's see. We're going to talk about specific food items now. So one big one we hear a lot about in nutrition, and through the diet industry is gluten. But gluten is connected to acid reflux. So because of a gluten allergy and an intolerance. So you could have a gluten allergy, an intolerance, or a sensitivity, which if undiagnosed can lead to inflammation and leaky gut syndrome with acid reflux and GERD. And Dr. Axe states a lot about that. He has really great information on his website too about it. So he recommends, eliminating gluten for a trial period, just like almost all of these foods, we eliminate things for trial periods to see how our body responds. So, and you want to work with your doctor, your naturopath, your integrative doctor to help figure out if you do have a sensitivity for this. So wonderfully. I mean, the best part is there are diets out there, and more is known about how to have a very healthy gluten-free lifestyle. And when I talk about that, that's real foods, not junk food, gluten-free lifestyle. So everything I'm talking about is whole foods, real food, not junk food. Okay. So a couple really popular diets you can look at for gluten-free is a paleo diet. And you can find out more about that on thepaleodiet.com. And basically, in this one, you're eating, healthy meats. Again, real whole food meats, fish, vegetables, and fruits. And in this diet, you would be leaving out grains, and most definitely you would be leaving out processed foods. Okay. And then there's also the Whole 30, and it's a 30-day guided diet program, which it's great. I have books on both these. I have the paleo books, and I've got the Whole 30 books. And, basically it's talking about eating whole, real foods again. And the whole30.com, you can go to that and get some great recipes and great guidance. But again, you probably, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a whole program on whole foods. And again, I want to reiterate, a lot of these things that happen to us in our acid reflux and things are like that, our lifestyle. So whole foods. And so both of these diets are great ways to handle, if you want to have help with recipes to help you know what you want to do and navigate through and to try. Another great way to look at things is reflux-free eating. So here are just some ideas. Is breakfast. Sometimes you won't know what to do for breakfast if you're used to having a bagel or toast or things like that. Go ahead and hop over to marksdailyapple.com. Okay, it's Marks, M-A-R-K-S, marksdailyapple.com. And there's recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And just some of them are like a salmon avocado Caesar salad is for lunch. Some salmon, chowder, grilled beef sauté. Oh my goodness. Lemon sage chicken, lamb and sweet potato soup, Cajun salmon burgers, taco casserole. So there is everything. Where's my breakfast? Oh, oatmeal with fruit and nuts, squash leek chard frittata, chia flax hot pudding, blueberry pancakes. So all that kind of stuff's available in terms of a recipe for you to try. And then also there's still some room for desserts. They've got some great recipes for desserts. No bake cheesecake, dark chocolate. Now this one confuses me. Dark chocolate Brazil nut coconut bars. I'm interested because chocolate's on the list of things to avoid. So again, read further on that. I probably shouldn't have put that one in here, but and then you've got frozen macadamia coconut bars, stuff like that. So again, marksdailyapple.com are some great recipes that you can find. So that's what we talked about food, whole foods, eliminating some things that could be causing challenges, which is sugar, get your gut bacteria in order, minimizing caffeine and other things, minimize overeating. You may need to lose some weight so that your stomach has room to hold food, those types of things. So next we're going to talk about deep breathing. So deep breathing can help you with stress. So stress, again, can really cause a great deal of problems for our digestive tract. So Dr. Axe has noticed some good exercise. So you can do pursed lip breathing. So you take a breath for about 2 counts, then you pucker your lips and exhale for 4. So, it's like you come in and then you exhale and really use that diaphragm, to breathe. So when you're breathing, I like to teach people about breathing is a lot of times you can end up doing and the shoulders come way up high. So breathing's not in the shoulders, breathing keep down, and breathing really you want to activate your diaphragm. So you can put a hand on your chest and the other on your belly. And as you breathe in deeply for about 2 seconds, your belly should stick out a bit. So breathe in and push that belly out a little bit and feel the air expanding your stomach area, and breathe out slowly through your lips. And so it's like and my belly expanded. And when I breathe out, my belly goes back in. Another one would be yoga breathing. And that's where you would place your right thumb over your right nostril as you breathe in the left nostril. And then you take your right ring finger and place it over your left nostril as you exhale, and you switch sides. Okay. And then one of my absolute favorite, this is, I learned this from Dr. Weil, and it's called 4-7-8 breathing. And that's when you breathe in, you're going to breathe in for a count of 4. You're going to hold for a count of 7. And then you're going to release for a count of 8. So we'll try that. We're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and out for 8. So, and again, I'm going to breathe into my diaphragm. So I'm going to go. And out for 8. And you do that like 3 times in a row. And just me talking about it and me doing a few of these exercises now, I'm even a lot calmer than I was. I was in a good mood and just was hyper, a little too hyper. So anyway, those things can help with stress. And you want to go ahead and practice these things because, stress can really, the body doesn't know the difference. So we can be working on something from at work. We could have something really challenging in life going on, or we could be truly trying to escape a very dangerous situation, but our body doesn't know the difference. And then, so this is a good piece of the puzzle for you to think about. So Dr. Tanya, she's a naturopathic doctor. She states that stress causes the body to draw blood away from the stomach to feed the muscles and the brain in situations where it perceives a threat. And so, because therefore, digestion is not an essential function in survival, all the blood flow leaves the stomach, allowing the esophageal sphincter to relax. So then the stomach acid can come back up, into the esophagus, causing heartburn. So I thought this was very interesting. So again, stress causes the body to draw blood away from the stomach, to feed the muscles and the brain in situations where the brain believes there's a perceived threat. So again, it doesn't know if just sitting at your desk working on a deadline right after you eat lunch is not really stress that you need to get up and you need to run as fast as you can. So those breathing techniques are very, very helpful. Also, I would like to recommend, if you're in that stress mode, you've got to get up and move your body. Sometimes I just got to burn that adrenaline out. And so I'll do some laps, I'll do some squats, I'll do some, arm raises, something just to get the body moving to help those, that stress hormone release. So it feels like it did what it was supposed to do. So if you find that you're agitated and you're holding tension in your gut and you have acid reflux, try that. Get up and move. Try the breathing exercises I just talked about. Maybe invest some time in some yoga classes, meditation, massage, other things. I mean, we're all under stress. So it's not something, I don't want you to ever think because you're stressed. This is something I used to think. If I was stressed, that was bad. That meant I wasn't good enough. I wasn't a good enough person because I should be able to handle it. And it got me overweight, and it got me pre-diabetic, and it got me in a completely backwards health spin. So, because I was afraid to acknowledge that I was completely stressed. So take my word on this one. And let's see. So now, we have been programmed that, why can't I just take a pill for my acid reflux. Why can't I just take a pill? Well, you can, but the challenge is that the antacids that are used to neutralize our stomach acids, you know, uh, they they um, they don't actually inhibit new acids from forming. So there's no long lasting relief. And then on the other hand, if you take acid blocking medicines, the proton pump inhibitors, they do inhibit acids and suppress natural secretion. So the reflex defense ND, he states that suppressing acid secretion does bring temporary relief, but it's not. It does not work on addressing underlying causes of symptoms. So, in other words, there's no end to taking the the pills if you don't deal with the cause and the reason you may have acid reflux, the reason you have GERD. You've got to deal with what is causing it. Otherwise, you're never going to be off of those. Never. And also I understand that once you do get on those acid blockers, those proton pump inhibitors, you have to, if you just stop taking them, it's terrible. You have to wean yourself off. And that's where, again, I would recommend working with an integrative doctor, your naturopath to help you reverse that. But with anything, a little side note is if you have digestive problems and issues, if you have diabetes, if you have heart disease, if you have any chronic illness that is related to lifestyle, you can take a pill, you can do all that stuff. It just covers the symptoms. You've got to address the source of the issue. For me, I had to address the source of the issue. It was my behavior. It was my food. It was my not moving my body. It was me not caring about my body. It was me caring more about everything else and demanding from my body perfection no matter what I put in it. So, Tough Love Tuesday, just taking a pill, you can do that if you want. But how about instead deciding to figure out the causes and start addressing those and really doing that kind of work? So, okay, so back off tough love. So there are ways you can try to, again, work with your doctor when you do this if you are on these medications. But number one, fix your diet. Number two, work on your stress. Figure out what's bothering your symptoms. Lose weight so that your stomach has the appropriate room it needs, to do what it needs to do. But there are home remedies that you can use that the reflex defense ND states, and things you can work on, and utilize during your moments of reversing this chronic state that you may be in. So instead of taking an acid or an acid blocking medicine, talk to your doctor about trying some of these other home remedies. And again, it's by Dr. Group from the Global Healing Center. They recommend raw organic apple cider vinegar. I've heard of this for a long, long time. And so you take 1 tablespoon of raw organic apple cider vinegar mixed in about 4 ounces of purified water before each meal. And this can help calm the stomach and support digestion. So it's a great fast acting home remedy for acid reflux. And again, I want you to work with your doctor with this. You can also utilize organic baking soda. So the bicarbonate is a wonderful product. Mix a spoonful in a glass of water, stir and drink before it stops fizzing. And organic aloe vera. It's commonly used to calm an upset stomach, diarrhea, and redness associated with bowel disease, such as ulcerative colitis. Inner aloe vera leaf gel supports digestion. It's just another great alternative, for something for acid reflux. So there are other options, but again, I really recommend working on the source of the challenge, and then you can have these things to help as you work your way out of acid reflux. One thing I love, and I use this as a protein powder as well, is soothing bone broth. So Dr. Axe is a proponent of this. So is Dr. Hyman and many of these integrative nutrition doctors. Bone broth it supplies amino acids, minerals, electrolytes, antioxidants, and collagen to help heal the gastrointestinal tract. And so you can make your very own and what I would do if I was going to make my own bone broth, when I do, it's from grass-fed organic meat, animals and bones. I do not use conventional. I will not use conventional, grown animals for bone broth. So you want to get high quality. If you're at the grocery store and you want to buy it, you got to watch out there too. It might say organic, it might say grass-fed, and they put a ton of salt in it. So you've got to really, if you're going to buy it, you got to make sure you're buying really good quality stuff. So you can learn more about, bone broth on draxe.com. So it's AXE, Dr. Axe. And so very helpful. And for further reading, I think, am I there? Am I done? Yeah, we're done. So I did cover a lot today. Just consider it, like, really pay attention to what you're eating. If you're suffering from acid reflux, if you're suffering from GERD and bloating, all this pertains to you as well. Even if you're just bloating, you don't have acid reflux. But really great websites you can go to. Again, draxe.com. He wrote a book called Acid Reflux Diet, Best Foods to Avoid, and Supplements That Help. And that's on his website. There's also the Celiac Disease Foundation. You can go to celiac.org and learn more about celiac disease and how gluten can affect those that are intolerant or insensitive or very much, allergic to it. You can also go to, check out globalhealingcenter.com. And also GERD-diet.com, and look up Dr. Hyman. So there's many great resources out there, even the Mayo Clinic. So again, as your health coach, I just want to reiterate again, you can go on masking symptoms and trying to cover symptoms for the rest of your life, and live in an environment that's where you are dependent on a prescription, or you're dependent on other things in your life that make things uncomfortable. You can spend your life uncomfortable, or you can find the source. You can figure out the source of your heartburn and your GERD, and then allow your body the opportunity to recover. And so again, if you're listening to this and you're having a challenge thinking about having to give up something, having to give up certain food, alcohol, you don't want to give up smoking, you don't want to give up these things, caffeine, you know what? Life is so much better on the other side. And sometimes it just means you've got to get that brain to buy in and understand and trust you, and be willing to go on the journey to figure that stuff out. So, again, Ingrid and I, the co-author of my book, we wrote Your Personal Journey with Food, a roadmap for the confused and frustrated dieter. And we wrote it because that's what we were. We were both confused and frustrated, and we didn't know what to believe. We didn't know what information to believe. And we just felt, lost. And so we had both recovered from both of the challenges and the health issues we had by doing steps like what I talked about today, by doing the steps, by learning about ourselves, figuring out our triggers, figuring out all that stuff. And sometimes, no, we didn't like it at all. But I promise you, on the other side, it is worth the journey, completely worth it. So with that, I'll let you go. Happy Tough Love Tuesday. And I look forward to seeing everybody again soon. And yeah, start working on those digestive challenges. And if you need help, look me up on my website, tracycromwell.com, and reach out. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay, take care.